Hey the guys, Carve here. Welcome to a early video in the day for Need for Speed 2015. We've got some news and some details from Gamescom, which we're going to be going through today. If you haven't seen the two trailers they dropped on their YouTube channel this morning, then check them out. Links in the description. There's not going to be any kind of footage in this video, just so I can avoid any sort of copyright, but there's going to be some screenshots from the trailers. But if you want to actually see the trailers yourself, if you've missed them, links in the description right there. But obviously Gamescom just happened, the EA conference just happened in the morning, I should say, as I'm recording this, and they talked about Need for Speed straight off the bat in the EA conference, which is nice to see. And we've got some more details about the story mode. The trailer was freaking epic, I must say. Really nice cinematic trailer. They did it like a movie style sort of trailer. Really cool. And we finally found out what the 5 ways to play, kind of the icons behind them are. So if you missed my earlier videos that I did when E3 came about, then you can go check them out on my channel by searching them. I basically talked about the 5 ways to play, which are build, style, speed, outlaw, and crew. Now, these 5 different styles have their different icons, and finally they've been revealed what the icons is. Some other YouTubers on the community have kind of maybe guessed what they might have been, but they're finally being revealed, so we're going to go through them and also talk a little bit about the story details. So, the first icon that got revealed to us in the trailer was the one for speed, which is going to be Magnus Walker. So, that was actually one that a lot of people got correct, and he was sort of kind of obvious from the silhouette picture. So, he's going to be the icon for speed. Moving on to style is going to be Ken Block, which was quite a big part of the trailer, and I'll speak more about that later. It's actually, it kind of looks like that's going to be the start of the story mode campaign where, it's all about the style, starting off trying to impress Ken Block. So, I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video. We moved on then in the trailer to Bill, which is Nakai-san, and then we move on to the crew, which is Risky Devil, and then finally Outlaw, which is Mororashi-san. So I'm going to be talking now a little bit more about the story aspect and what we can kind of imply from the trailer, but also what they actually told us about in the actual EA conference when they talked about Need for Speed. In the background while I'm talking about that, I'm going to have some screenshots from the trailer itself that got released today. I'm going to try and screenshot many different cars from the trailer. A few of them are going to be a bit blurry because obviously it's quite a high-paced trailer, but at least you can kind of get an inkling of what the cars might be like and what the car list is going to be. Hopefully it's going to be over 30 cars at least. I mean, obviously Need for Speed Rivals had about 30 cars. It was a little bit limited. You got to the end of the pile of the cars and you felt you wanted a little bit more. So hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more cars in this new Need for Speed game. But if you're more eagle-eyed than I am, probably there's quite a few of you, and if you spot any more cars in the trailers or just some cars from better angles in the gameplays or the screenshots you've seen on Twitter and whatnot, then tell me in the comments below. I probably have missed some in the screenshots, but that's going to be in the background. But let's talk about the story a little bit more now. So from the conference we learned that it seems like when you start off the story mode campaign, you're going to start off with the style section of those 5 ways to play. Now you start off with the style section, which is obviously attributed to Ken Block. So it seems like from the conference we're introduced to this character who seems pretty obsessed with Ken Block, and in the conference we saw a little cutscene, I'm guessing from the game, hopefully, that it's a little cutscene where you're in a kind of den or like a garage, and he shows you on his phone like a new Ken Block run, and then he suggests we're going to try and do the Ken Block run point for point in one go to try and impress him. So I think that might be like a big hitter mission right at the end of like your style career, maybe trying to impress him and trying to do that like a Ken Block style run that we've seen him do on YouTube and whatnot in one take, which would be quite a difficult ass mission, trying to do all those moves, trying to do like the sickest jumps ever, trying to drift around corners perfectly all in one go. That would be pretty damn difficult, and I think the reward is then you finally get to meet Ken Block in a cutscene and whatnot and finally get to meet him. But then also mentioned in the conference is, if you fail, then you're going to try again. You're going to constantly try and impress him. So the style way, of course, you're trying to do your own thing, trying to, build style points up, trying to just drive, the most impressive way you can. But it's all building up to trying to impress Ken Block, trying to get his recognition, trying to get some rep in that way. But it was also mentioned if you do finally meet him, if you do the run successfully, you don't necessarily have to stick with that style. You can quickly move on, and if you do fail, maybe you can, if you don't necessarily want to try and pursue trying to meet him in game, you can try and move off and then maybe go to the speed aspect of it, which was then mentioned in the conference, which is obviously Magnus Walker. We saw in the trailer there's a little bit where they put down the phone on the pool table, the speaker phone, and then Magnus is saying that I'm quite impressed with your speed and whatnot. So that's going to be a big thing, maybe trying to go as fast as you can. Maybe there's going to be some kind of time trial-esque runs down, some random streets. We've seen previous NFS games, Need for Speed Carbon, Need for Speed Underground, where either you're doing races or you're doing kind of time trial lap styles where you're trying to beat the time, trying to beat the clock. So maybe that's going to be something how you can try and impress Magnus, and you have to customize your car, hopefully, to try and get the power and the speed that you need. Or maybe you can go for grip. Obviously, we've learned from E3 stuff that you can tune your car to either drift a lot more or grip a lot more. So it's a very interactive sort of handling model where the handling model can actually change from very drifty and maybe a little bit more realistic to actually kind of very, very grippy, and actually it's very easy into control into corners with high speed. So maybe you want to go for that if you're going for more time trial kind of speeds, or if you're going for style, you may want to kind of go all drift out, really hang the tail out, go around those corners, go over the jumps on the Chem Block run. We also saw in the trailer there's a part where the I want to say one of the main characters, the girl in the garage, asks you to make a car build. She wants you to get it ready before Nakai-san gets into the city. So that's going to be the build aspect. So it looks like maybe you're going to be trying to impress him with your build. So you have to try and, make the best builds you can do. Maybe, there's a way where he scores your builds or whatnot. Or maybe if it's not good enough, he doesn't like it, and maybe that fends off or something like that. That's just a little bit of speculation here. But it'd be kind of nice to see maybe if you can actually fail at building car. Maybe he doesn't like the way you've built the car or something, or maybe you have to, maybe it gives you a task of how to build a car, what sort of style you want to build it in. But also the build aspect, there's going to be so many different things: spoilers, hoods, skirts. You can have wraps, vinyls. It's going to be really tasty. Build is definitely going to be something that I may be very, very interested in terms of the customization, but at the same time, I'm also going to want to check out the style and the speed stuff. But I think build's going to be a very big part, especially for the entire Need for Speed community and whatnot. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of build stuff like that. But let me know in the comments if you guys are going to be right up in there in the customization, and actually let me know what you might be going for in terms of the 5 ways: build, style, speed, outlaw, crew. Let me know. Talking about crew, now obviously Risky Devil was the icon for crew, so that's going to be all about trying to, drive in a very organized kind of way for your crew. They talked about in the conference about being able to do kind of like a train of kind of drifts and going around the corner in a kind of synchronized manner. So, you've seen the trailers, we've seen the trailer plenty of times. We've got like 5 cars going around a corner and they're all sort of doing the same exact drift in all kind of a different pattern. So trying to stick around with your crew, I'm guessing you're probably going to be not the leader of the crew if you're doing the crew aspect at first. Maybe you're going to be like the last guy and you have to try and stick with the crew and try and do the exact same move they're doing to try and copy them and try and go through alleys. Maybe you can also be racing on the crews. That'd be kind of cool, because I remember Need for Speed Carbon quite well, because that's a game I played quite a lot. I remember Underground, but the one I remember the most is Carbon, because memory. I played Underground a lot longer ago than Carbon, but I do remember Carbon quite well. And Carbon, I remember there was a big aspect of actually crew battles. There's crew territory in the Need for Speed Carbon maps. You had the canyons, which was kind of home to one crew. Then you had the kind of more city aspect, which is one crew. So you had like 4 different crews where if you went into that area, you would constantly get into crew battles and you have to try and take over the kind of crew areas. So I don't know if they're going to have that aspect, because obviously they have the other 4 icons, so maybe it'd be a bit too much if they had a kind of a crew battle aspect. But it's kind of cool to have that sort of thing back in the game, where you have to try and take over territory and try and kind of assert your dominance over other crews and rival gangs. Because I remember that was a big part where you had those big boss battles where you're just completely embarrass the kind of top crew member of your rival gang. So that would be quite cool if they had that back. That's going to be the crew aspect. So Risky Devil, we saw that in the trailer. We had a little part in the trailer where I think he was the leader probably of Risky Devil, came up to you and said he was impressed with what he was seeing from you. So again, throughout the trailer, it was that whole kind of, you're trying to impress these guys because they're sort of the icons of all these car cultures in real life. They're doing it for real. Getting to the end game of the game, I'm not too sure how the game will end or what kind of end point each of these things will have, but I'm guessing a big part is trying to finally earn their respect and trying to be kind of well known and make your own icon, because that's also the final part in the conference where they said you need to try and become the ultimate icon. So I guess you're trying to culminate all these 5 kind of different worlds of Need for Speed, different styles you can take the career mode in, and you kind of trying to smash them together and be your own icon with a little bit of builds, maybe a little bit of style, speed, and everything. And finally, obviously, we heard a little bit about it. They didn't talk a lot about it, but Outlaw, which is Moriyashi-san, they only had a little bit in the trailer and a little bit in the conference, but basically it's the standard kind of Need for Speed from Rivals that we've seen, trying to get away from cops. Obviously, in the first iterations of Need for Speed, they they didn't ever have cops. Cops weren't really a thing in the previous Need for Speeds in terms of the very early ones like Underground. But then obviously with Most Wanted being so, you know, special and really popular, obviously cops became a big thing in Need for Speed ever since then. So they're bringing it back with Outlaws, so it's not going to be like Rivals where you are the cop. You're just going to be the racer this time, and you have to get away from cops. So that's going to be another thing. To be honest, I'm probably not going to be that interested in Outlaws because, you know, I'd rather just race and make my cars up. It's got a little bit irritating. I remember playing Rivals, you know, when it first came out for quite a while. I actually played quite a lot of that game, and I remember it was just getting a little bit annoying sometimes when you're trying to do a race and then a cop kind of interrupts your race and just makes it a lot more kind of just annoying to get away from them at the same time, but you want to race the guy. So I'll probably be steering clear a little bit of Outlaw, but let me know what you guys are going to do, as I said, with the 5 different styles. And so finally, before I end the video, they finally talked about in the conference this really exciting new technology with Frostbite Engine that NFS are using. So basically, it's kind of a merge between real life kind of, you know, live shot footage and in-game. So we've seen the E3 trailers that they did a panning shot from, it was a cutscene, a real life action, you know, shot scene of the guy talking to you. You're in first person, and then it pans over and it seamlessly just merges into the game. Now they talked about the conference, they actually showed some really neat kind of half and half where you can actually see the wireframe of the cars, and it seems like they've got this really awesome technology where whatever you do to your car, like if it's in the cutscene, whatever you do, if you put a big ass spoiler on your car, it's going to actually be in the real life shot. So you're going to have a real life actor in front of your own car, and it's going to be the actual car you've customized. Not seen much like it in games right now where it seamlessly really just merges real life and the game together so well that you can't even tell what's real life and the actual game itself. So that's going to be really interesting. So that's been a little roundup of what we've seen from Need for Speed at Gamescom, from the conference and the trailer at least. Hopefully there'll be, obviously, I know there's some YouTubers who do Need for Speed videos and like Forza videos who've gone out to Gamescom thanks to EA. So hopefully we'll be hearing some more news from them and they can relay it back and we'll learn some more news. But apart from that, I'm not going to talk about anything else, otherwise that'll just be kind of rambling on. But I'm very, very much excited for Need for Speed, if you can tell by my voice. Very, very pumped. Definitely going to be planning to do a full Let's Play of that game. I'm so pumped. I'm a big Need for Speed fan. I remember playing Underground 1, Underground 2 so fondly. Need for Speed Carbon, as I mentioned, was a big one for me that I remember quite well. And then obviously, you know, the last one that I played was Need for Speed Rivals, which was 2 years ago. That was a little bit of a letdown. I mean, it seems like they've rushed it out a little bit. It was quite, you know, quite restrictive in terms of what you could do. Only 30 cars. So I'm hoping this one's going to be a lot bigger in terms of the amount of cars, the amount of map that you get. Obviously, we know the map's going to be 2 times the size of the Rivals one. So that's going to be pretty cool. But what we've seen from the trailer, oh man, I'm just really pumped. The story mode just looks so in-depth and just a lot of good fun. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you're new around here, then do subscribe for more Need for Speed content. If there's any more news that's worth noting, I will bring it out to you guys in another video. But obviously, as I said, I'm going to be doing a Let's Play on this channel for Need for Speed when it comes out in November. So you want to subscribe for that. If you're new, if you did enjoy the video and you found it informative, guys, then smash that like button. Really appreciate it. If you guys are Need for Speed fans that are already subscribed to me, really be sure to support these videos, because that's the only way I'm going to keep on doing them if they get the support that I feel they need and deserve. So smash that like button, guys. But I've been Aaron. I hope you enjoyed that video. There'll be an F1 video later in the day, so do not worry. This is just an early video for some Need for Speed Gamescom news. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I've been Aaron. Goodbye.